This is honestly the first time I'm coming out about this story after 2 years of being out of it, so forgive me for this story being a little jumbled. Hey guys, what's up? I'm Katie Kier. If you're new to my channel, then you should hit that subscribe button because you'll get notified when I post new videos, and it's free, so why not? For today's video, I'm going to be telling you guys a story time, and that story time is going to be about the time that I was in an abusive relationship. Forgive me if this is a hard topic to talk about. I chose this story because this month will be the 2-year anniversary of leaving this relationship. I am very proud of myself for doing so and finally getting out of it. And the story is not to make anyone feel sorry for me. I'm not looking for sympathy. This story is to simply get my story out there and to raise awareness on the topic of domestic violence and the causes and the red flags that you can look out for. Basically, to tell everyone out there watching that may be in the same situation that it's gonna be okay. There are people there for you. There's always someone that you can talk to. So this story takes place about November of 2013. I was 16 years old and I had met someone who was 3 years older than I was. He was already out of high school. So about 2 weeks after meeting, we decided to make it official and we started dating. We kind of moved very fast into the relationship. We said I love you within the first month, which I don't know, for me, I know we didn't really love each other, but he said it first, so I felt like I had to say it back, which I think was one of our first problems. But for the first 2 months, we never fought at all. It was honestly a really perfect relationship and everything that I thought I wanted. He always wanted to spend time with me, and even when we weren't spending time together, we were always talking. When we were just talking, he wanted to know where I was, who I was with, and at the time, I thought that that meant that he really cared about me. Around the 2-month mark of our relationship, we ended up getting into one of our first huge fights. This fight consisted of him making me choose between him and my best friend at the time. Me being the 16-year-old that I was, I chose him because I thought that he was more important, and he made me feel really guilty if I didn't choose him. He would say things such as, "You'll never find anyone like me who cares about you and loves you like I do. She's not really a real friend. She would want the best for you." He would say things that would make my mind think that he was the only person that would ever really care about me. He started to really emotionally abuse me, I guess, but I didn't see it as that. I just kind of thought that he was looking out for the best for me. He would say things like I should get a job and that I was lazy for not having a job, but I was a junior in high school and all my time was focused on school and sports. He would say things that would make me feel even worse about myself, like I have hotter friends than you, but I don't choose them because I would rather be with you, like you have a better heart. But at the time, I struggled really deeply with body image and just a whole general self-image. About a month or 2 later after that one huge argument, he started to act out on his feelings of rage. We would get in fights more frequently. Most of our fights happened to be when he was driving and I was in the passenger seat, so most of the time he would punch the center console or he would punch his radio in his car. He broke both of them. There's holes in his car. He ended up, he would show me holes in the wall that he punched at his house, expected me to feel like I should just feel bad for him. He clearly had anger issues, but I didn't want to see that. I was honestly starting to become afraid of him because he would get so, raged at. He ended up breaking things of mine as well. He ended up punching a hole through my bathroom door one time. He punched and broke a lamp that was in my room, and glass flew everywhere. I don't remember most of the fights that we had because I chose to forget about what had happened. Another red flag that I should have seen before was that he never wanted to really hang out with my friends and I. He would always want to it just be me and him, or be me, him, and his friends, but I didn't really like his friends. His friends were kind of bad influences on him. I remember being in one fight with him and just seeing like the anger in his eyes, and you could tell that he was like one of those people where if you're angry then you kind of like black out. You don't really know what you're doing or saying or anything like that, which is honestly really scary. I just remember looking him dead in the eyes and like knowing that it wasn't him that was really doing those things, which is one of the excuses I constantly made up for him, which is not fair to me or anyone that I pushed away in this relationship. I ended up losing a lot of my friends. I would ditch them for him because he made me feel so isolated. Eventually, I'm pretty sure my family could sense that I was becoming a little bit more different and distant, because he would always say things like that he cares about me more than they do. Although I knew that wasn't true, I just wanted to kind of have the sense of belonging with him. You just want to be with them because without them it feels almost impossible, no matter how bad the situation is. A few months later, and it is summer at this point, we had broken up or like split up for a little bit, but we were still talking, trying to work things out, but we knew we just couldn't have that title and the pressure of a title on us. He ended up showing up to my house, and my house is like in the middle of nowhere. It's in the woods, so if I were to like scream like in horror, no one would be able to hear me. Like no one could see what was going on. Basically, I'm going to name my ex-boyfriend Daryl. So he had basically heard from his best friend that, and I'm going to name his best friend Tam. So basically Tam had told Daryl that we had hung out like without his knowing, and that I was trying to like hook up with Tam. Obviously I wasn't. We didn't even hang out. I don't know why he would tell him that. Basically, I hated his best friend. Like his best friend was manipulative. He was just honestly a really bad person. So if you're watching this, sorry. Daryl had showed up to my house in the middle of nowhere and was obviously filled with rage. I had just gotten out of the shower. I remember telling my friend, I knew that he was angry with me, so I wasn't surprised when I heard like a car on the gravel of my driveway, and I told my friend that I was talking to, hey, listen, if I don't answer you within 10 minutes, please call the cops. And I sent him my address. I think as a 17-year-old, I shouldn't have to tell someone to call the cops if I don't respond because of my ex-boyfriend being a psycho. I'm looking out my window and he's literally on his knees crying, but that was his way of trying to make me feel bad for him. He wasn't being sincere about it, and I had no sympathy for him at this time. We were literally fighting every single day up to this point. He basically went from crying and then he stands up and his whole persona just changes. He gets that look in his eyes. It was just like a flip switch. It was scary because it's like he didn't really know who he was anymore. I didn't know who he was anymore. I am texting my friend back, and then I'm even texting my dad. Basically, Daryl had asked me to go beat up Tam, and that he has a baseball bat in the car, and he also has a long knife. I'm not sure what they're called. It wasn't like a kitchen knife, it was like an actual knife. He had one of those in the car, and basically he's threatening Tam's life, which is his supposedly best friend, for me supposedly hooking up with him, in which none of that was true. So I'm texting my dad and telling him like I want to leave the house because I don't want to be in the middle of nowhere, but I don't want to ride with him. So I'm like offering like, I'll take my car, you take yours. My dad didn't want me leaving the house, which I understand like perfectly. So I didn't leave the house. I told Daryl that, and basically Daryl just keeps crying, and then finally I'm like on the phone. I was either recording what he was saying or I was starting to type out 911 just in case so that I can just hit send right there or call. I think he saw this, so he snatches my phone away from me, and he was like a few inches taller than me, so if he was holding my phone up above his head to where I couldn't reach it, he, at the same time as he's grabbing my phone, holding it up with his other hand, he is gripping my arm so tight. He was gripping my left arm. He was twisting it around. He continued to threaten to kill himself, which is not cool. That's really manipulative. To make someone do what they don't want to do is to threaten to kill yourself. He finally left, but he stormed off, and he like almost like, my dad's driveway is kind of on a mountain. Not really, it's not an actual mountain, but there's a big drop off like on either side of the driveway. So he stormed off, and it almost looked like he like fell over the edge, but he didn't. He was fine. But I was worried for his safety. Like, even though like he was really manipulative and not a good person, I did care for him, and I was worried. But after that day, I texted my grandma, who is a lawyer, and I told her that I needed a restraining order against him because I started to fear my own life and my family's life, because he had threatened to kill people or like burn my house down, stuff like that, and kill me, and that is just so obsessive. I ended up getting a restraining order on him shortly after that fight, and it was like one of the best decisions I had ever made. Yeah, that's the story of the time that I was in an abusive relationship. If you're watching this and you're in this situation, like, please know that you're not alone. Like, there are so many people. I remember searching for apps and things that would help me and resources of people who are in abusive relationships, and just being in the room of where I got the restraining order at, not the courtroom, but like the step before the courtroom. There were people there, and it was so, like, I got to hear some stories like on the side. There's always people that you can talk to. I just hope that at least I can help one person through making this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that you learned something from this video. If I can just help one person, like, that would just make me feel so good. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.